In late 2019, Bury FC died. A football club that was integral to the local community destroyed itself in front of our very own eyes. Talks at the time were speaking of how a football club should never have to face the same fate again. Well, 3 years later, and nothing has changed. Southend United is very close to reaching the same fate as Bury. Southend United are on the brink of extinction, with the club unable to pay players or staff for not just months but going on to years. They have until March the 1st, less than 1 month, to save their football club. They need to find a 7-figure sum by that date or risk the extinction of the football club. And the main concern is the severe lack, minimal or no coverage across the main UK media, as quoted here by the Shrimpers Trust. It's depressing. It feels like most of the media are waiting for us to die and then come and take photos at the funeral. So what is going on at Southend United and why it is so important to speak about this? As I promise you, the fate of Bury FC will not be an extremely rare occurrence. If you guys do enjoy, let's hit 2,500 likes. Thank you all for loving the channel. If you're new here, then please do subscribe. Thank you all for 322,000 subscribers. And comment down below your thoughts on not only Southend United and the situation that they found themselves in, but by the bleak future that English football could be facing, as other teams simply cannot keep up. While those at the top are spending billions upon billions, those at the bottom need help and are at risk of losing everything. I hope you do enjoy, and let's get into the video. If you play FIFA 23 and want to improve your team but not go for the effort of actually playing the game, then make sure to go down below in top of the description to use them and buy. And make sure at checkout to use code Vizeh for 5% off. Ron Martin's near 25-year association as owner of Southend United Football Club and his relationship with the club supporters is probably best described as complicated. When he initially arrived in 1998, his property development company acquired the club from former chairman Vic Jobson. Ron Martin, when taking ownership, admits that he wasn't particularly fond with football. However, over years, he has indeed grown more fond of it. Ron Martin's tenure has coincided with some of Southend's most memorable moments in their history, including a League One title-winning campaign in 2006, a 1-0 League Cup victory over Manchester United at Roots Hall, and a Wembley playoff success to earn promotion back to the 3rd tier in 2015. But alongside all these highs, it has come with some crushing lows. His first issue with the High Court came in July 2000, when a debt was paid off a couple of days before a winding up petition was due to be heard. 10 years later, in 2010, the PFA got involved when players weren't being paid. This, however, was settled again. However, recent years for Southend United has not been kind to them. In 2010, they suffered relegation back to the basement division of the Football League, and the warning signs was there to be seen from the supporters. So when those same financial problems resurfaced back in 2019, the outcome was even worse. Players were paid late, the PFA were involved again, and again they were unpaid taxes owed to HMRC, with the EFL fining the club and imposing a suspended points reduction. A succession of poor managerial appointments from Kevin Bond to Sol Campbell to Mark Mosley, and in Phil Brown's second spell in charge, together with repeated transfer embargoes stifling their ability to strengthen their squad, meant the club were relegated into non-league football for the first time in over 100 years in 2021. And through all of that demise, the fans of the football club watched their club disintegrate in front of their very own eyes, not by being at the game and offering support, but by being distanced from the squad and from the club, watching the club fall apart through a TV screen, through the EFL's streaming service due to COVID-19 and the pandemic. The heartbreak of the local community watching their once pretty good football club, which was in the Championship not too many years ago, being in the Championship as recent as 2007, watching their football club become almost unrecognisable and they cannot do a single thing about it or even offer any support. However, there has been some resurgence of support and hope in the last few years. Stan Collymore, who launched his career during a short spell with Southend in the early 1990s, has retained his love for the club. He has helped encourage Ron Martin to appoint a chief executive for the first time in 5 years in 2021. He then helped convince the owner, Ron Martin, to install former captain Kevin Meyer as head coach, alongside Darren Curry and his former player Mark Bentley. The reason why I'm showcasing this is that the owner of the football club, Ron Martin, is not fit for purpose to run a football club. As one quote that I remember watching in a Copa90 video is, "Never own a football club and never own a restaurant if you do not know that industry to a defined, detailed level." As throughout many years, the issues of Ron Martin and his inconsistency to pay his players and pay his staff has only tainted the reputation of the football club week by week, month by month. To any aspiring footballer or staff member, why would you want to go to a football club which looks like it's on the verge of collapse? That's why when they needed new players or needed new staff members, needed to improve their club, they can never get them in due to the man at the helm, as in reality, to the outside, it always looked like a sinking ship. The relationship between the supporters and the squad began to rebuild, and the results on the pitch have turned around spectacularly. From a flirtation with the National League relegation zone when they arrived in October 2021, the coaching team now have a squad sitting in the playoff places in the top tier of non-league football and in the last 16 of the FA Trophy. Despite the on-field success, many supporters find it difficult to forgive Ron Martin for being responsible for the club not being in the English Football League, and this has been exacerbated by his inability to pay the taxman, to pay the local suppliers, the players, the coaches, and the hard-working non-playing staff on time. So dire has the situation become that the Shrimpers Trust made a loan of £40,000 to cover a serious shortfall in wages due to non-playing staff in November 2022, only 4 months ago, and this was matched by the club's main shirt sponsor, PG Site Services, a GoFundMe that generated a further £20,000 contribution towards the wages of backroom staff later that month. The club's reputation amongst players, other clubs and local businesses, not to mention football and government authorities, has been tarnished, and despite the £2 million development of a new training ground, the club remain at a crumbling roots hole for now. The next date at the High Court has been marked as final. Southend United fans will have to wait to find out whether that is the case. The club is at serious risk of falling apart in front of our very own eyes. Many of the Southend United fan supporters groups have united to encourage Ron Martin to accept outside investment to ensure the club overcomes its current financial difficulties. The supporters have real fears that the very worst can happen, and already have established a working group to explore the possibility of setting up a Phoenix club similar to what Bury have done should Southend United FC be liquidated in March. The reality is, Ron Martin, who is the chairman of Southend United, have shown himself to be incapable of running a football club and clearly needs help and outside support. The problem is that the current situation has gone on for so long and has reached such dire straits that for any new investor to help the club will be taking on a massive ask, as once they also acquire the football club, they will essentially be taking over a football club riddled with debt, a loss of almost £2 million a year, and would have to immediately settle a tax bill of 1.4 million with no assets to speak of. When speaking to Southend fans, a lot of them follow the same hymn sheet. The reality is Southend United will die if they do not get new investment, because the current way of their owner, Ron Martin, will only drag this club down to oblivion. And the main concern for me is the real lack of support and even any sort of acknowledgement by the mainstream media. Jeff Stelling on Sky Sports News, I believe, had a small piece of this in one of their recent programs, but I believe that this needs so much more. We can't look at what happened at Bury and cry foul of a terrible story of a club being ran down to oblivion and act so sad and surprised about it, when in reality there's another club who are going through very similar situations and a very real reality that they will suffer the same fate, almost waiting for it to happen to then decide to give it the attention that it deserves. Now, I do know that in reality my video in the grand scheme of things would not help Southend United in terms of a actual investor wanting to invest in them. I doubt there's a multi-millionaire who is watching this and thinking, I want to save Southend United now, but I do think it is important as football fans to talk to each other and discuss situations like this, because at the end of the day, this could be your club. I know if you are a Manchester United fan or a Liverpool fan, it may seem like this is incapable to really think of, but we are all football fans, and with my own personal connections and feelings towards my own local football club, I can't imagine the pain and the fear that this will play on many Southend fans. Comment down below your thoughts on the situation and what can be done to help clubs like this in the future, as Southend United is going through a problem, and I must say they aren't the only one. There's another football club going through the same situation at Scunthorpe United. Scunthorpe, just like Southend, has served another winding up petition over a unpaid tax bill. If you guys want me to make a video about Scunthorpe in the future, then I can. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you have, then please feel free and leave a like. Let's try to hit 2,500 likes, and thank you all for the channel, and I believe by the time you see this we should be on 322,000 subscribers. So if you are new here, please feel free and subscribe for more football essays and investigations like this one. And I appreciate you guys' time, and I wish Southend United the absolute best, because no football fan should be at fear of losing their football club. So with that said, I'll see you next time.